Hello friends and students, Namaskar. Welcome to Career 360. Today we're going to talk of an examination that is possibly the most grueling examination in the world, the toughest examination in the world, the most competitive examination in the world, an exam that determines the future of millions of students, and it is taken in a country which is very, very large. It's an examination where construction bans are imposed and factories are shut so that students can prepare at peace. There are traffic restrictions where there are no horn zones that are implemented across the country. The community support for this examination, when this examination happens, is so big that local neighborhoods are asked to maintain low noise levels, with residents often showing incredible solidarity by avoiding loud activities like celebrations and gatherings. This is an examination where separate oxygen stations are set up in schools and in community halls to provide oxygen tanks, especially in high altitude regions, to combat fatigue and improve focus. There are rest zones that are created in community stations across the country so that mental breaks are taken by the students, along with, especially because they're having intense study periods and they want some kind of a rest, and rest zones are created. The air quality control is monitored continuously, and some factories, some shops are closed so that the air quality in highly polluted areas can actually improve, so the concentration of the students can also improve. There are cooling measures that are implemented across the country, especially in zones where there is extreme heat, and air-conditioned halls are created so that students can go there, study there, and take the examination. What I'm actually talking about is an examination called Gaokao, which is held in China. It is the single largest examination, with about 13.5 million students taking the examination in 2024. This is an examination where when students are going to the examination and they're slightly late also, there are escort buses that take them there. There's specialized Gaokao buses that are there, which are given way so that the students can reach the examination hall in time without any stress. There are medical teams that are there around every examination center to ensure that any stress-induced illness, fainting or dehydration is tackled. There is counseling support across the system so that students who are preparing for the examination have complete counseling to help them prepare for the examination. Gaokao as an examination started in 1952 in China. It's the sole criteria for admission to most universities in China, directly influencing students' educational and career paths. It fuels a multi-billion-dollar industry in terms of test preparation. The acceptance rate of this examination is very, very low, especially in the better universities. For example, in Peking University or Tsinghua University, the acceptance is just about 0.1%. And the success or failure in the Gaokao examination can determine a student's future opportunities, creating immense societal, familial, and personal pressure for the students. Gaokao is also China's national college entrance examination. It's the world's largest, most competitive standardized test. In 2024, about 13.42 million students took the test. Just put it in comparison with JEE examination that we have in India, Gaokao is 10 times bigger. It serves as a primary criteria for university admissions across China, significantly influencing students' academic and career opportunities. The exam has gained international recognition because of the kind of scale and size at which the exam is conducted. And these scores are now accepted over 1,000 universities across about 20 other countries, and not just in China. And this includes institutions in the US, UK, Canada, Australia, and many other countries. And many international universities at this point in time incorporate Gaokao scores into their holistic admission processes itself. So that is the kind of size, scale, and acceptance of the examination, not just in China, but beyond China also. And because the examination is so competitive, the security measures are also very, very serious. They're very, very intense. There are facial recognition equipments that are there, metal detectors are there, and more importantly, around the examination hall, the radio signal jammers are there. Drones monitor the examination. In fact, SWAT teams guard exam papers during transit, ensuring no breaches. Strict cheating penalties are given. What happened in NTA and NEET, it last year. In the case of Gaokao, with about 13.5 million students taking the examination, there's not been a breach ever. And the reason is simple. The SWAT teams guard the exam papers right from the origin through the transit till it reaches the exam center. And most importantly, cheating is treated as criminal under the Chinese law, and there is 7 years of imprisonment if any student resorts to cheating. So the kind of security measures that are implemented around the Gaokao examination, because it's competitive, because it's intense, because it's rigorous, because it's grueling, is such that students prepare for the examination and take the examination, and they don't resort to any unfair means. And around the Gaokao examination, again, there is a lot of community and parental involvement also. Hotels for parents and students. A lot of parents book the hotel rooms near the exam center so that students can go there, stay there and study from there without any stress of last minute travel problems. Volunteers are offering help at every single exam center, with families getting water, umbrellas and everything that you can think of. There are motivation sessions that are held for the students before the examination, and relaxation techniques like yoga and meditation also are followed in many schools and many community halls to ensure that students take them so that they can have lesser stress levels and they can relax while preparing for the examination. Now, how does Gaokao compare with the other examinations? And we try to compare that with JEE examination, which is held in India, which is for engineering. Of course, NEET is another 2.5 million, but JEE is about 1.4 million last year, and it's going to be 1.5 million this year. So we try to compare Gaokao with JEE examination and also the SAT examination that is held internationally. And SAT, of course, as you know, is held across 175 other countries. Now, Gaokao, about 13.42 million students took the examination last year. JEE, about 1.4 million took the examination, and SAT, about 2 million students took the examination worldwide. But that is where I think the comparison starts drawing itself much, the gap increases. Gaokao is held between 2 to 4 days. The total exam is over 9 hours. That is 3 times of what JEE and SAT are. Both JEE and SAT, the exam itself is held just over 3 hours. Gaokao is held over 9 hours. And that is where I talked of the stress levels and, mental stress and medical teams and all. Because to take this examination over 9 hours, over 2 to 4 days, is a big challenge for the students. And that is where, they actually have to take breaks and then come out and those kind of things happen. Now, the other part of it is, Gaokao is very, very distinct in one thing, which is that mathematics is compulsory in Gaokao examination. Unlike JEE, in India, where only in JEE you need physics, chemistry and mathematics. But for example, if you want to take NEET examination, mathematics is not compulsory. But in Gaokao, like a language, mathematics also is treated. Chinese, mathematics and one foreign language are compulsory. And after that, if you want to pursue science, one of the subjects which is physics, chemistry, biology, or if you're an art student, geography, history, politics, and those kind of subjects are taken. JEE, it's physics, chemistry, and math always. And in SAT, it's always evidence-based reading and writing, including mathematics. And optional essay is also available in SAT. But of course, maths also is here. The frequency of administration of this exam also differs. Gaokao is held just once every year. JEE, as you know, is held twice a year, one in Jan and one in April. Now, earlier it used to be just once a year, but now it is twice a year. And SAT is held multiple times across the year. In fact, there are 7 test dates in the US and 4 internationally, but there are multiple test dates where SAT examination is held. Now, let us understand the acceptance rates of these examinations. In Gaokao, as I said, about 13.5 million students take the examination, and JEE is about 1.4 million. So it's about 10 times bigger. In Gaokao, though every single university in China accepts this score, and about 85% students actually through Gaokao get into the college but not of their choice possibly, but based on the merit that happens. If you get down to the better universities, the way you want to compare it with IITs or NITs and all in India, the acceptance rate there is less than 1%, because universities like Tsinghua or Peking and all, the acceptance rate is less than 0.1%. Now, if you come to JEE, you actually have about 1.4 million students taking the examination, about 45,000 seats there. Right, which is about a 3% acceptance rate. 2.5-3% is the acceptance rate. But if you want to get into only IITs, it's about 1% acceptance rate. If you want to get into NITs, it's about 2% acceptance rate. And you add the triple ITs and everything else, it's about 2.5-3% acceptance rate. Right. Now, in SAT, it varies widely amongst different colleges in the US. And the acceptance rate is between 5% in the more elite institutions to over 50% in as you keep going down the order. So, to put things in perspective, all these 3 examinations determine the order of merit based on which you're going to get into a college of your choice. And the more esteemed, more elite, more legacy-driven colleges are much more difficult and tougher to get yourself into. And what your score gets will determine which good college you're likely to get yourself into. Now, difficulty level, if you want to look at just the difficulty level of these examinations, Gaokao is very, very grueling because it's a 9-hour examination, of which 3 papers are compulsory, which is Chinese language, mathematics, and one foreign language. and typically a lot of students take English out there. It requires extensive memorization and application skills. This is important for you. In JEE, it's, as we all know, that it's one of the toughest engineering entrance examinations globally. And it emphasizes a lot more on deep conceptual understanding and problem solving skills through application. SAT assesses reasoning and critical thinking skills. It is less challenging than Gaokao and JEE Advanced possibly, but it's on comparison with JEE, possibly it's out there. Now, because the examinations are this Gaokao is so difficult and so grueling and so tough, students dedicate their entire high school years for preparation with intense study schedules. The schedules are so difficult that many students start, giving up much early. It takes them to depression. The preparation schedule is so tight that students don't have any other space to do anything else other than just prepare for the examination. Now, in JEE also, you all know that in JEE Mains and JEE Advanced, students take about between 2 to 5 years to prepare for the examination. They move out of their own home centers, home cities and all, and go to coaching institutions and then deal with the whole thing. They actually have to top it up along with your normal education and then keep preparing for that. But in terms of the scale of the examination, Gaokao is right up there because about 10 times the number of students take the examination, and there is subjects which are compulsory, including mathematics. Even if you want to pursue medical or whatever it is, mathematics is compulsory, and a foreign language and Chinese are compulsory. Whereas SAT, many students start months ahead of the examination. It's not as, the preparation schedules are not as tight as what it is for Gaokao or JEE. As far as retake policies are concerned, Gaokao, as I said earlier, is held just once a year. Students can retake the following year only if desired. Now, JEE, students, they can actually do it both in Jan and April in one session, and they can do it in the consecutive years also, one more attempt. SAT can be taken multiple times. So the reason why I thought we need to understand Gaokao as an examination is because we want to compete with China, and China has a certain way of working in some of these examinations. Imagine 10 times the competitors that you have for JEE examination. Imagine 3 times the exam time itself, 9 hours. We prepare for 3 hours for an examination. The exam schedule is for 3 hours. There is about 9 hours. Adding one more subject, which is the language itself. So all these things add up to the toughness, the grueling nature and the competitive nature of the examination. Most importantly, it's the single way of getting into any university in China. Unlike in India, where JEE is only meant for engineering, Gaokao is meant for everything and anything that happens in China. If you want to study higher education, you need to go through one single examination, which is Gaokao. Whether it's right or wrong is an independent question, but it is very tough, very difficult. The examination is so tough and so difficult and so competitive, and it's accepted by across the country so much that you actually have curfew being imposed during the examination, factories being shut during the examination, shops being shut during the examination, no horn zones during the examination. Escorts are, leading students to the examination hall. There are specialized buses that lead students to the examination hall. There are medical teams that are waiting in the examination hall. Oxygen stations, rest stations, you name it, and motivational classes, you name it, everything goes along with the Gaokao examination. It is so big, so grueling, and so tough that we thought we should bring this story out to you. Thank you so much, guys. Namaskar.